In the world of hip-hop, few names shine brighter than Sean Combs, better known as P. Diddy. Over the years, he has built a legacy not just as a rapper, but as an entrepreneur, producer, and cultural icon. But beneath the glamour and success, controversy has always been close behind. Tonight, we take you deep into a case that rocked the music industry to its core, raising questions that continue to linger today. This is the story of the P. Diddy nightclub shooting, a story of power, crime, and the relentless pursuit of truth. P. Diddy's rise to fame. To truly understand the impact of the case, we must first look at the rise of P. Diddy. Born Sean Combs in Harlem, New York in 1969, he grew up surrounded by the struggles and challenges of life in the inner city. Yet, through ambition and talent, he managed to carve out a place for himself in the world of hip-hop, first as a talent scout at Uptown Records, and later by founding Bad Boy Records. Throughout the 1990s, Diddy became one of the most powerful figures in music. He worked with rising stars like b.i.g, who would become one of hip-hop's most legendary figures, alongside other artists like Mace and Faith Evans. Bad Boy Records was more than just a label. It was a cultural force, redefining the sound of East Coast rap and shaping the image of hip-hop on a global scale. But with power and success come complications and enemies. In the highly competitive world of the 1990s, hip-hop conflicts ran deep, and Diddy was soon at the center of one of the most infamous rivalries in music history, the East Coast versus the West Coast feud. The East Coast-West Coast feud, the rivalry between East Coast and West Coast hip-hop in the 1990s, wasn't just a competition for album sales or chart dominance, it was deeply personal. On one side, you had P. Diddy and his East Coast label, Bad Boy Records. On the other side, you had Suge Knight and Death Row Records, who were pushing West Coast artists like Tupac Shakur and Dr. Dre. What started as a professional competition quickly escalated into something much more dangerous. The tension came to a head with the murders of Tupac Shakur in 1996 and b.i.g in 1997. Two tragedies that shocked the world and left the hip-hop community devastated. Many believed that the East Coast-West Coast rivalry played a direct role in these events, and both Suge Knight and P. Diddy found themselves under intense scrutiny. While the specifics of those murders remain unsolved, the backdrop of violence and competition that defined the era set the stage for what would come next. Club New York. Fast forward to the night of December 27, 1999. The setting was Club New York, a buzzing hotspot in Manhattan. P. Diddy, riding high on the success of his career, was in attendance, along with his then-girlfriend, pop sensation Jennifer Lopez. The night was typical for New York nightlife, filled with celebrities, music, and luxury. However, it would soon descend into chaos, marking the beginning of one of hip-hop's most infamous incidents. Tensions were already high in the club when a confrontation broke out between P. Diddy's entourage and another group of patrons. The cause of the fight remains unclear. Some reports suggested it was a dispute over a bottle of champagne, others that it was sparked by insults or perceived disrespect. But in the heat of the moment, what could have been a small altercation quickly turned violent. In a matter of moments, gunshots rang out in the packed nightclub. Panic spread as partygoers scattered, trying to escape the crossfire. 3 people were injured during the shooting, though thankfully no lives were lost. What followed next was a high-speed exit by P. Diddy, Jennifer Lopez, and their entourage as they fled the scene, leaving chaos in their wake. The police chase and arrest. The police were quick to respond, chasing down Diddy's vehicle through the streets of Manhattan. When they finally stopped the car, they discovered a 9mm gun inside. Diddy, Shine, an up-and-coming rapper who was part of Diddy's Bad Boy Records, and Jennifer Lopez were all arrested. The media quickly seized on the story, and soon, what might have been a routine nightclub altercation became a scandal that gripped the public's attention. The investigation begins. In the days following the shooting, the New York Police Department launched an investigation into the events that transpired that night. It was no longer just about a nightclub brawl. Questions of gun possession, bribery, and attempted murder swirled around P. Diddy and his entourage. For the first time in his career, the self-made mogul found himself on the defensive, facing charges that could bring his empire crashing down. The charges. Sean Combs faced serious charges, including illegal gun possession and bribery. The prosecution alleged that Diddy had attempted to bribe his driver with $50,000 to take responsibility for the gun found in the vehicle. For Shine, the charges were even more severe. Prosecutors accused him of firing the shots that injured 3 people in the club, leading to charges of attempted murder, assault, and reckless endangerment. Media frenzy. As the case began to unfold, the media went into overdrive. Every aspect of Diddy's life, from his relationship with Jennifer Lopez to his business dealings, was put under the microscope. The trial quickly became a spectacle, with news outlets covering every detail. The public was fascinated and opinion was divided. Some saw Diddy as a victim of his fame, an innocent man caught up in a bad situation. Others believed that his wealth and power allowed him to manipulate the system. The trial. In January 2001, the trial began, and it quickly became clear that this was more than just a legal battle. It was a fight for Diddy's reputation. With Shine also on trial, both men faced the possibility of prison time. For Diddy, the main issue was whether he had illegally possessed the firearm and attempted to bribe his driver. The prosecution built its case on witness testimony, including that of Diddy's driver, who claimed that his boss had offered him a bribe to take the fall for the gun. The defense, however, painted a different picture. Diddy's high-profile legal team argued that he had no involvement in the shooting and that the prosecution's case was built on shaky evidence. They attacked the credibility of the driver's testimony, pointing out inconsistencies that raised doubts about the truth of his story. Shine's role. Meanwhile, Shine's role in the shooting was heavily scrutinized. The young rapper, whose real name is Jamal Barrow, was a rising star at the time. His involvement in the case could potentially end his career before it fully began. The prosecution argued that Shine had fired the shots in the nightclub, while the defense insisted that he acted in self-defense. As the trial progressed, it became clear that Shine's fate was closely tied to Diddy's. If Shine was convicted, it could reflect poorly on Diddy and his bad boy empire. The stakes were incredibly high for both men. Testimonies and drama in court. The trial was filled with dramatic moments, from witness testimonies to high-stakes legal arguments. P. Diddy's driver, the prosecution's star witness, provided the most damning evidence against him, but his testimony wavered under cross-examination. At one point, the driver changed key details of his story, leading to doubts about the prosecution's case. Other witnesses offered conflicting accounts of what happened that night, making it difficult to establish a clear narrative. The defense capitalized on these inconsistencies, arguing that the prosecution had failed to prove Diddy's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. The verdict. After weeks of testimony and deliberation, the jury finally reached a decision. In a highly anticipated verdict, Sean Combs was acquitted of all charges. For Diddy, it was a massive victory. He walked out of the courtroom a free man. However, the same could not be said for Shine. The jury found him guilty of assault, and he was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Aftermath. Shine's conviction and subsequent imprisonment marked a turning point in his life. He would go on to serve nearly 9 years behind bars before being deported to his native Belize. After his release, he reinvented himself, becoming involved in politics and philanthropy. But the nightclub shooting would always remain a significant part of his story. For P. Diddy, the case left a dark stain on his otherwise glittering career. Though he was acquitted, the incident served as a reminder of the dangers that come with fame and fortune. It also raised questions about the justice system and whether wealth and influence can tip the scales in favor of the rich and powerful. Legacy of the case. The P. Diddy nightclub shooting case remains one of the most infamous moments in hip-hop history. It highlighted the complex intersections of fame, power, and violence that often go hand in hand in the world of celebrity. While Diddy continued to thrive in his career, the events of that night still linger in the public consciousness, serving as a cautionary tale about the darker side of fame. Thank you for watching this deep dive into the case that shook the music industry. The P. Diddy nightclub shooting remains a story full of questions and unresolved mysteries, and we're glad you joined us in exploring it. If you found this investigation intriguing, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories where power, fame, and crime collide. Stay curious, stay informed, and we'll see you in the next true crime story from Secrets in the Shadows.